believe it or not, the prostitute, Rahab, who sat in the wall and let the spies come into Jericho, she's one of the mothers of Jesus. All right, we had a profound thought the other day in our live stream, and the idea was that righteousness is not an action. It's not what can be done. It actually is a person, and that person is God. And that would mean that it's not what he does that makes him righteous, because if he is righteous as a person, then anything he does will be righteous. Okay? So that's a profound thought, and there are many places in Scripture where it appears that God himself would do the very thing he tells us not to do. And that can be shown in various passages. And I'm going to show you one today with marrying foreign women. The foreign women, the Israelites were not allowed to marry. But did you know that in the lineage of Jesus, he had 5 mothers that were Gentiles? 5. Let's take a look at that. First of all, look at the warnings. Warning after warning. Do not marry foreign women. There's various reasons for that, but the main reason was that they would lead their hearts away from God. He warns them from making covenants with foreign women. It will turn your hearts away from God in Deuteronomy, Exodus, Joshua, all the way down into after the exile, when they're starting to restore Jerusalem again, Nehemiah and Ezra. Ezra pulled his hair out because they were going right back to the same stuff that they were doing before they went into the exile. Literally, it says he was pulling his hair out. And so it can't be denied that that is something God commands men to obey. And here are some examples of some places where their hearts were led away. Do not give in to the daughters, right? They will turn your heart away from me. And King Solomon, we're going to talk about him in a little bit more detail, basically fell away from the Lord because of these foreign women. In 1 Kings 11, you can read it very carefully, but King Solomon loved many foreign women from all different nations against the idea that you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your heart away from after other gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to love them all, and there was hundreds and hundreds of women, foreign women, that he had married. And he had several hundred wives, it says right here. And as he grew old, his wives turned his heart away to other gods. The great and mighty King Solomon. Many people don't realize this, that God actually calls him an evil king. Believe it or not, go read it yourself. His heart was not fully devoted to the Lord, his God, right? Let's read the next part down here. Same chapter, 1 Kings 11, but verses 9 and 10. The Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart was turned away from the Lord, who had appeared to him twice. Although he had forbidden Solomon to follow other gods, Solomon did not keep the Lord's command. And remember, King Saul, the very first king, was rejected and removed, and his whole house cut off, because he would not obey the commands of God. So we have some serious examples of why not to go after foreign women, and who did it and how bad the consequences are. But did you know that there were 5 Gentile women in the lineage of Jesus? These Gentile women were the mothers of Jesus. Now, Joseph and Mary were both Israelites. When he came into the world, his closest mother was, Hebrew. But he had 5, including, believe it or not, the prostitute, Rahab, who sat in the wall and let the spies come into Jericho. She's one of the mothers of Jesus. And the great and mighty King Solomon, the wise King Solomon, even though he was rejected by God, angered God, disobeyed God with all these foreign women, one of those foreign women was the mother of Jesus. How mind-boggling is that? You can see right here in 1 Kings 11, Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord. That's the same statement and rhetoric that's used for all the evil kings. That is a powerful revelation if I've ever seen one. But yet, one of the wives of Solomon was the mother of Jesus. We see here in 1 Kings 14:21, and Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, reigned over Judah. His wife and his mother's name, he had a child, and his mother's name was Naham, an Amorite. She was an Amorite. And just like Ruth, who was married to Boaz, are the children of Lot, who had sex with his 2 daughters and bore the Amorites and the Moabites. And both lines were the mothers of Jesus. Ruth was a Moabitess. Naamah is an Ammonitess. And both of those lineages, those lines, come from Lot, who had sex when he was really drunk. His daughters set him up, and he got both of his daughters pregnant, and had mothers of Jesus came from both of those lines. Can you believe that? And don't forget about King David, who basically had sex with a man's wife in adultery. Both of them should have been stoned to death. Bathsheba was married to the Hittite. She was also a Gentile woman, a mother of Jesus. So you have it back to back. You have King David getting a Gentile woman pregnant, Bathsheba, having King Solomon. King Solomon, and out of all his wives, Gentile wives, had gotten a Gentile woman pregnant, having Rehoboam, and that continues the line where Jesus is born, eventually through Mary and Joseph. But that is amazing. And it goes to show us that God can do whatever he wants because he is righteousness. Not the actions that he takes themselves, but he alone, his personality, his personhood is righteous. So if he allows something or does something, even if he tells us not to do it, he is still righteous no matter what.